The Katowice Neon Trail. Walking through Katowice after dark, we can hit 7 light stops in the area of Market Square, 3 Meyer Street or Stavowa Street. In a special exposition, we can see reconstructions of old neon signs, archival photos, and read about their histories. About the idea of creating a trail, Mr. Krzysztof Krot from Katowice Storage of Neon Lights. "Good morning again," Mr. Krzysztof said. "Good morning," lecturer said. "Mr. Krzysztof, where did you get the idea on the Katowice Neon Trail? From where did you take it?" Mr. Krzysztof said, "From a deep sense of showing things of value to the people of Katowice, to remind them how it all looked like. Quite freshly, because many citizens and residents of the city, he remembers this perfectly from the 1970s and the 1980s. But a lot of younger people don't have an idea of what the city looked like in those days. Perhaps 5 to 6 years ago, I submitted to the city a document with a proposal to prepare such a trail. It's been processing for a long time. There was no time for me, and I'm sure the officials, but lately that idea was looked at. And so the first trail was created, The Light History of Katowice. It was opened at the end of June this year. It consists of 7 stops. The first element starts with a corner on the Market Square on the 3rd of May. The next stop goes down the street, May 3rd. Then they turn into the street pond. We finish at the height of the view axis to Super Sam. We have on the trail 6 neon lights and 7 stops. One stop does not contain an item because it's Randia. And Randia, how I mentioned the last podcast, is in full or 1-to-1 reproduction scale in the dimensions of 2.5 meters to 2.5 meters in the central zone. That is our headquarters in the City of Gardens. It was impossible to transfer. It's not a miniature, it wouldn't hang on the facade of a private tenement house. That's why there's an information board with a detailed description, but refers to a completely different space. Other neon lights can be seen in the form of thumbnails. We try to choose the ones that most mean or are the most historically valuable, which important on the trail of neon signs. They also greatly describe the history of changes in the city. First stop, the zoo, and then Katowice, because people do not have any idea. Find out from the boards, or they do not remember such things, that once the area of the zoo belonged to Katowice. Only in later years the area was changed with Chorzów. We have recovered the stars, or rather the terrain under the stars, and the entire park came under the administration of the city of Chorzów. In the days when this neon sign was formed, we encouraged you to visit Katowice Zoo. Here we found out the interesting history. We have pets there, 3 of the 5 that were present on this beautiful neon sign, with a detailed description. What did the change look like in the urban space in this place? Reading the story on individual stops, we can find out what to find out has happened in these past 50 to 60 years in the city itself, the lecturer said. In addition to learning the history of neons, we can also get to know and bring closer to yourself the history of the city. Mr. Krzysztof said, "This is indispensable because the building on which this element was originally located, neon, or zoo animal, does not exist. There's a treasure in there right now. We have a substitution of certain elements in architecture or urban space, but referring to the neon sign that used to function there, we have to show the story. Moving on, I think we have one more beautiful neon light, which functioned in the Katowice PDT, or department store, which today is not working anymore. It had so many changes, there are many layers of different neons. The first, probably on the turn of the 1930s and 1940s, a little lettering in the circle, just PDT, and then it grew. The next stop are the monkeys, which have many Katowice observers have already seen, because they continue to function in the area of the square, right in the vicinity of the Market Square. They are divided. They have already been created 6 or 7 years ago, but due to a lack of suitable space, appeared on 3 separate lanterns and, of course, refer to this original style. The original monkeys were on the corner of 3 Meyer and Stavowa streets, and jumped up and down the tree and up and down, on the left side, right at the entrance to the gallery. Katowice Street, there is a neon cat in shoes. It's nice, take a closer look. It illustrates a little bit the situation related to Katowice railway station. It was on top of the facade of the building. I think it was about 4 meters in size. To pursue this neon cat in shoes, who advertised the store footwear for children? Next on the right, we have a board dedicated to the history of neon Randia, and many others, which were located on Stavowa Street. Stavowa was such a street, except for Warsaw on May 3rd, which already had a lot of neon. It's hard to list them all, and we're not even going to focus on that because you just have to familiarize yourself with this historically and read the information. On the left side, we have Filipek. It was one of the cafes, gastronomic restaurants. Filipek, I don't know where the name came from. We call it Jumping Man because it's the gentleman with the hat, which in cyclical motion bounces in place and his bowler hat floats and drops all the time. The lecturer said, "What did the selection look like?" That these neon lights will be on the trail. Mr. Christoph said, "It was not easy because there are a lot of these neon signs. Peel something from 80 to 90 pieces on 3rd Meyer Street and 25 to 30 pieces on Stavowa was not easy. But also, from a historical point of view, we wanted to convey what is most valuable or what is worth notices. On the way there is an example of the cinema which operates all the time. The neon sign is recreated. It's of course completely different." The lecturer said, "World class?" Mr. Christoph said, "Yes, the Światowid cinema. It also used to have neon signs. It was not easy, but we tried it in such a formula so that it looks most like the references to history, a given place." The lecturer said, "Let's go back to the story, because in 2010 alone, in Katowice, reconstructed over 100 neon signs." Mr. Christoph said, "After 2010, already after 2007, as we appearing in the urban space and the Dominik went back into reactivation, the breakthrough took place in the 1980s, along with the fall of the old system. He had no one else to do it. Bankruptcy shafts all companies. People had to look for a new one. The other thing is that there came the cheaper items, first fluorescent lamps, then plastic parts, then other structures as we can see it in the urban space now. Everything is glowing, but glows on principle, plexiglass, plastic, or other highlighter elements. So actually, we have a break like this 25 to 30 years in reactivation. We regret that such a huge number of these elements has disappeared from urban space, and not specifically someone was interested. What could people care about if they didn't? To live and function, and not to save what's left. Dynamic return begins from 2010 to 2011. First Dominik Tokarski, then individuals they loved these elements of space. Step by step, the neons began to reappear, a big plus for urban institutions of the type Athenaeum Theatre, Silesian Theatre that started thinking about it too. That's not surprising because the neon is completely different in the reception, and I think it's everyone who sees the neon will feel it. If we said about the Katowice railway station neon sign, or any in Poland, these neons were visible from kilometers away, through the cut and through the brightness. Be recreated in the form of a fluorescent lamp or any lamps, it'll just disappear into space, a few hundred meters. But the neon signs had such a brightness and were so specific and often selected cut and color scheme for the space that is brilliantly visible from a great distance. This message, this information, it goes very far into the world, the lecturer said. And which of these miniatures is closest to you? Mr. Christoph said, "I've always loved monkeys the most." The lecturer said, "Monkeys?" Mr. Christoph said, "Because they're frivolous. It's fun. Please see one thing, that these neons do not always describe directly what we are talking about. For example, a cat in the shoes does not show bluntly that it is a store, but by reference, people knew that it was advertising a shoe store. The monkeys advertised the store with toys and other items for children. In a frivolous way alluded to it. The Randia tea room, it's easy to read because it was on the teapot that was swinging steam. So the reference is so simple. But a jumping Philip with a hat? How is that supposed to refer to gastronomy? I have no idea. But maybe this will also in some way forge people's interests. It is in this that it is all fantastic. If you'd like to move on in time and see some more iconic neon signs, we invite you to Katowice. Route of Katowice Neon. I'm sure you won't miss it. Mr. Christoph Krot from Katowice Storage of Neon Lights, thank you and goodbye. This project is funded by government budget. The podcasts have been read by Braden Buddy.